Hey guys, and welcome to our Study Various Majors in the United States series. Today we will focus on study English in the United States. My name is Hani. I am the Education USA advisor in the Fulbright Commission in Prague. And today my special guest is Jessie, who is a Fulbright grantee, and she's an English teaching assistant in Chomutov. Hello, Jessie. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. Yes, so I studied English during my undergraduate degree, and so I will be speaking a bit more about that.
Mhm,
I went to James Madison University in Harrisonburg, Virginia.
mhm,
It's a public university of over 20,000 undergraduate students.
mhm,
So I included some photos. The first is main campus
mhm,
with the beautiful mountains in the background.
mhm,
And then the second photo is Kiesel Hall,
mhm.
which is where our Department of English is at
Uh-huh,
JMU. And so I spent time in that building taking courses in English.
uh-huh.
I actually was an English minor as an undergraduate. So my major was interdisciplinary studies
Mhm,
because I wanted to be an elementary school teacher.
mhm.
But I minored in English because I loved the classes and I really, really enjoyed studying language and literature.
It's really cool. Looking at those pictures, it seems
Yes.
like a very big school. Is there a living on campus? Like,
Mhm.
especially, asking for international students. Is there an opportunity to live there as well?
Definitely. So there are different dorms or residence halls
Mhm,
for specifically first year students are
mhm,
required to live on campus
mhm,
at JMU. And they had international dorms and
mhm,
they had dorms for students of specific interests as
mhm,
well.
mhm.
So there are definitely options for staying on campus. And then your second, third, and fourth year, you can also find housing on campus too.
That's really cool. Thank you.
Yeah. And actually, in this photo of main campus, you can see some of the dorms.
Mhm,
That's kind of our historic quad area.
mhm,
And so that's called the Bluestone area.
mhm.
And we had dorms there that students could live in.
That's cool.
So starting with what is an English major?
Mhm,
So it is a humanities subject that focuses on English language, literature, critical thinking, and writing.
mhm,
So that's very broad. So I included a picture on the right of the English major requirements
mhm,
at JMU specifically,
mhm,
but different universities and colleges have different requirements.
mhm,
What's really nice about this major is there is some choice about the specific courses you take.
mhm,
So for example, in the introductory courses section of that picture, you can see that it's 9 credit hours, which means 3 classes,
mhm,
and you have some choices of which specific classes to take.
mhm,
I was really interested in fiction writing specifically, and so I included 3 of my favorite courses on the bottom of this page that I took.
mhm,
So modern British and Irish literature, survey of English literature, 18th century to modern, and then introduction to creative writing,
mhm,
which I loved.
mhm.
Um, so there's lots of different subjects within English, and you can specialize in specific topics such as history, creative writing, teaching, and so on.
And so is it more typical that students would study a different major and have English as a minor?
Mm.
Like, having
Mhm.
elementary education as a major and then English as a minor, because it seems that the courses would kind of like go towards both. Or is it the other way
Mhm.
around that you would major in English and have elementary education as a minor?
Yeah, so it totally depends on your path and what you're interested in.
Mhm,
So typically you would major in English
mhm,
if you wanted to teach English at the high school level.
mhm, mhm,
So at JMU, you majored in your specialization, whether it was math, English, biology, and then you would do a 1-year master's of teaching afterwards to
mhm,
get you certified and licensed to teach.
mhm,
So if you were on that path, you would do the English major and then get your teaching certification.
Mhm.
But you can also be an English major and not want to teach, and that's totally an option too. Maybe you want to write or be a journalist or a blogger, or you want to do something else within the field. You can still major in English. I chose to minor in it because I knew that I wanted to study elementary ed. And so that was my priority. That was kind of my big focus. And then English was something that I did to kind of supplement it.
Cool.
Yeah. And then in the bottom of this picture, you can see that it says BA degree requirements. So an English major is typically a BA degree, which is a Bachelor of Arts. And so you'll take different courses within that degree to get your requirements and all your credits.
Oh, there is a foreign language requirement. So for Czech students, they would study English and they would also have to take another foreign language, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
So at JMU specifically, if you had a Bachelor's of Arts degree, you were required to take a foreign language. But because I was a Bachelor of Science, I wasn't required to take a foreign language.
Okay.
So it just depends on the degree. So what universities and colleges offer English majors? So it's safe to say that all colleges and universities will offer options for an English major and or minor. I included on the right the specific options at JMU. So as I mentioned, it's a BA or Bachelor's of Arts. And then you can actually do a concentration. So you could have a concentration in British or American literature, world literature, creative writing. And then you could have minors in American studies, creative writing, or film studies. So those were the options at my school, and it might look a little different somewhere else. I also included the top ranked schools in the US. This is according to the US News and World Report. So these are some of the options for really well-known departments of English. But definitely students do your own research as well about finding the right school for you and what the right fit is. And yeah, keep in mind that there's different concentrations and different areas of focus that you could go into.
Do you remember or do you know if JMU, because you studied there, offer any scholarship opportunities for students, or was that not an option?
We do have an office for scholarships and financial aid. Since I did not have a scholarship to JMU, I didn't know too much about those options. But there are both need-based scholarships. So if you come from a low-income household and need extra support, then you might qualify for those need-based scholarships. And then there's also academic, or I guess merit-based scholarships, which is based on if you really excelled in high school and stood out, then you might receive a scholarship for that.
And does JMU offer a sports scholarship as well?
Yes, so sports are big at JMU, specifically football and basketball. And so we play Division I sports at JMU. And so there are options to play in college, but you would be recruited. And it would be very competitive to do that. So yeah, I'm not totally sure what the scholarship or like funding options would be for that, but there might be options.
Awesome. Thank you.
So what would I do with an English major? What can't you do? I never understood when people said, oh, well, what are you going to do with an English major or a humanities major? Because you need to be a strong writer, reader, communicator, regardless of what profession or path you take.
Mhm.
And I really believe that. I think that if you know how to think critically and write well,
Mhm.
it will take you really far.
Mhm.
So I included some of the things you could do with an English major here, but
Mhm.
I think it can translate really well to a lot of different things.
Mhm.
So you could go into law, publishing, freelance, creative writing, journalism, a whole bunch of different things.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And guys, like when I saw this public relations and so forth, check out our different live streams here in our webinars, because you can learn more about public relations, and you'll just find out throughout this whole series how
Mhm.
important is to know communications and writing and so forth. So yeah, I agree with Jessie that you can go far with English major for sure. Yeah.
Definitely. And then I included some general tips here. So the first thing is really do research about the specific university or college you're interested in,
Mhm.
because the tuition, the scholarships, and the funding might look different based on the school you're at.
Mhm.
And some schools have really wonderful scholarships for international students.
Mhm.
So that's definitely something to keep in mind.
Mhm.
Another thing to think about is what you want from your college experience. So of course you want a really strong academic school, but what about the social life and the community and the ways that you want to get involved?
Mhm.
So really think about how big or small you want your school to be.
Mhm.
The picture on the top is the football stadium at JMU. As you can see, it's huge and crowded and packed. So if that's scary to you, you might want to think about going somewhere smaller.
Uh-huh.
I personally wanted lots of school spirit. So you can see our Duke Dog mascot in the right-hand corner. He has purple and gold on, and I loved that spirit and that energy.
Uh-huh.
I also recommend getting in contact with professors and students at the school you're interested in
Mhm.
to get advice and to hear about their experiences, because it goes a really, really long way to form those personal connections and to show that you are genuinely interested in going to that school.
I would need more advice in this department, because Czech students like tend to think that they don't want to bother, like that they don't want to they know that the teachers are busy. So did you reach out actually back then, and what did you ask, or what was the email all about? Could you give us an
Yeah.
example?
Yeah, I think um, the key, I think, to this is keeping it concise,
Mhm.
but also, so for example, I did send an email to a professor and I started with 1 or 2 sentences introducing myself.
Mhm.
And then I explained why I was emailing the professor. So I had a specific question,
Mhm.
and it was a question that you would not find from
Mhm.
just Googling really quickly on the internet.
Mhm.
So I really tried to think about something that showed that I had done my research and that I was actually digging deeper.
Mhm.
Um, and so I asked 1 or 2 questions and I thanked them for,
Mhm.
taking the time to read the email, and
Mhm.
I kept it very short and professional. And I reached out to, I think, 2 different professors. One emailed me back and the other didn't, and that's okay.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think it really does make a difference to just reach out, because the worst thing that's going to happen is they don't respond.
Mhm.
So do not worry about seeming like, rude or intrusive. They will be fine.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, so that's kind of my general tips,
Uh-huh.
and also just my personal experience with the English major or minor at JMU.
Thank you, Jessie. Thank you so much. And you guys, if you have any questions about studying English, and maybe Jessie can connect you with other friends or classmates, especially for you, it would be interesting to connect with someone international who decided to study English as a major or a minor. Or if you just want to know more about emailing professors and you would like a proofread of your email or a tip, please let me know to either my email address or through our social media. You can find us under the handle EducationUSA Czech. My email address is advisor@fulbright.cz, and I'm happy to connect you with Jessie. I am happy to help out. Jesse's happy to help out. So take advantage of us offering free help. And I hope that you learned something interesting today. And if you have questions, we are here for you. Thank you so much for joining. Jessie, thank you so much for your time. And we'll see you. Bye.